Test. No. Here's the audio there. Wait, mute it. There. Turn off sound. All right. So now we got that coming in through here. That's coming in through the meeting. Apparently, you couldn't hear me beforehand, which is fine. But we got it now. We're good. All right. So headset mic set up, and I believe that's in here. Headset mic. Yep. And then that's good. I think we're good to go. Think we're good to go. So, what I am doing here is just a quick introduction. Can I close this? Close. All right. What this Workstation Buddies is intended for, and I've done it. It started off as a kind of a conversation I was having with another friend of mine, and we would just be bouncing ideas off each other throughout the day. So I just set up a Discord server and made a channel that was dedicated to just being online. So if I was doing something, I could just jump on there, and if he was jumping on there, we'd have our conversations, work side by side. Essentially, we didn't work for the same people, different industries, just a way to work from home while working with somebody else and bounce ideas in real time. So I wanted to bring something like that over here to the school community, and this is what it is. So basically, it's kind of like an open office hours, uh, but not just for one person. So come on in if you got work, jump in on this meeting, uh, go on mute. If something pops up, hey, how do I do this Excel formula? Just ask here before you go to Google. Ask the group here, maybe somebody knows and can give you a quick explanation and help them to jog their memory. And if you're you know want to chat or whatever, feel free to do that. It's not like a quiet group. If somebody gets distracted by that kind of environment, certainly mute the community or I guess mute the community. Mute the chat while you're in it, um, or the audio, and you won't be interrupted by that. And if you want to jump in, go ahead and do that. I would, like I said, we all work differently, so. And then I'm also going to save these recordings to go ahead and reference later. So maybe some nice nuggets will come out of the conversations, and some ideas will pop up out of problems that are addressed. And some industries might be um, comparable to other industries. So once you recognize that, a lot of times I've found a lot of benefit can come out of finding solutions for problems that you A didn't know you had, or B um, that you thought were impossible to fix because you were looking at it from a different perspective. So that's what this is. What I am going to work on today, and what I'll probably talk my way through, just as to support this recording, I suppose. Not something that I would generally do on this platform, but we'll just kind of get things going rolling. All right. So it's 11:15. I need to grab my glasses, and we'll jump into it. All right, I can see a little better now. Excuse me. So, let's get out of here, and let's. Hmm. All right, I'm going to finish up some work on this computer. Uh, and I might actually move. So I have a part-time job for the company that I left full-time last, and it's data, working with a report. And there's a lot of things that are on my mind that I could do to help. And like, it's not that we've done a lot to help this situation. We're kind of moving from uh, legacy process where we're dealing with Excel workbooks for data and manual processes, and we're helping to bring that environment into more modern. I think I just spelled out process as my password. It's not what I wanted. 1 second. There we go. So, so what we're trying to do is just kind of bring it up to date and make it less labor intensive, so that the people who it's a small data team, so the people who are in charge of getting some important data to people are able to um, do the like analytics and all the fun stuff. Honestly, the stuff that isn't downloading a file and converting a file and transferring a file to another folder and all that stuff. It's not uncommon. But it is unpleasant. So that's what I'm going to do is finish running these reports and then take a look at the import process. Well, starting at the import process, and what I want to do is probably mimic something on my computer, so I won't be using the same data, but I'll use the same um, attributes, and then break that down into a um, generalized format. So I'm a big believer in um, Miyamoto Musashi's one thing to do 10,000 or something like that. Whatever that. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Miyamoto Musashi. I always get it wrong, but let's see. Miyamoto Musashi, great guy. If you haven't heard of him, read Book of Five Rings. I have it, so if you're in my area and want to borrow it, come on down to Mandala Sun Martial Arts, Portland, Maine. So, Miyamoto Musashi. No, oh, there it is. See, I've looked it up before. To know 10,000 things, know one well. So, how I apply that quote to the world of business or data or life in general is with business processes and business um, industries, labels, whatever it is. Um, Ultimately, you're all dealing with the same thing. We're all dealing with the same thing uh, in our measurements and stuff, and we name them different things a lot of the time, and you'll find that within companies internally. It's super common to have one group calling a measurement this, and another group calling a measurement uh, a different thing, and then a third group calling a measurement a different thing, and then a fourth group having to come up with the name of a measurement because three different measurements names exist, and the challenge that comes into, well, which name do we use? Because it's very easy to say, yeah, just pick a name and be happy with it. That's It's very easy to say. It's hard to implement because there are a lot of people in some of these situations who are relying on reports, historical reports. I mean, this is how they communicate. um, this is how people communicate with one another. So think about that in life. If somebody says, excuse me, that the sky is blue one day, and then somebody else says that the sky is green another day, and then somebody else comes around and says, what color is the sky on the third day? Is it blue or is it green? And which makes sense to call it? Or is it yellow? Who knows? And and we can apply that to situations that exist in real time anyway. I mean, we don't have to just consider a hypothetical. But we won't go into that. We will instead, I'm talking as I run this report. But what I can do is start building that out like we just talked about. So I'm going to use, I will use this drive. Where do I want to put it? All right. These meeting recordings. Excuse me. I don't think I need this anymore. No, it's not that big. I thought it was a larger file. Oh, I can close this. um, I'll make a folder here. This is the type of stuff that stops me in my tracks. What do? I make a folder. That's the next step in the process. Which, I mean, that kind of goes to something that I'll touch on at some point in time. I was thinking about it this morning. Just action. Like that's the biggest thing that my biggest hurdle a lot of the times is just doing a thing. Like there's a little voice in my head that's saying, don't do that thing. It's not so much procrastination. It's just I don't know what it is. I don't know. But we will start from here. We'll open a Google Sheets. I am not super proficient with Google Sheets, so this is kind of a learning thing for me. Um, I'm tempted to just do it in Excel, but I want this to be as open as possible. And I do understand that the world is such where Google Sheets are the more popular thing for this type of thing. So we'll do that, but maybe I'll do a Excel version afterwards. All right. So basically, what I am dealing with here is I said I was gonna start with what it is and then go to the simplified version, but I'm tempted now to just go straight to the simplified version. Um, no, because I got to investigate the situation anyway. So yeah, we'll do that. we'll we'll give the actual thing, which in that case I have to like wait for this stuff to finish doing its thing so I can get to the things that I need to get to, which is going to take several hours to. So we won't start with the investigative part, but we'll start with what we're trying to get to, that simplified. And I'll try to explain this as in the broadest sense and work our way down. I will use Google Sheets as the way to kind of document this. Um, I think typically what I'd want to do is I've got a tablet here. I'd like to. I'm very much a whiteboard person. I don't have a whiteboard here with me, which I'd use, and I don't have my tablet with me right now, which I could be using. Um, I have a Wacom tablet here that I could use, but it's not hooked up. So in the future, uh, I will have something in play. Let's say that. For now, we'll just kind of express it this way. So we'll call this business data. Business data 101. Boom. Um, what are we looking at? What's a business? Let's define a business. Business is an entity. Okay, let's define the entities first. All right, here's how we'll do this. Entities of a business. And we'll pop it off the top of our head, and then we will go ahead and do a little bit of search. Maybe we'll use ChatGPT to I could try Gemini. I don't like Gemini. I haven't enjoyed Gemini as much as I have ChatGPT, for example. But for the sake of learning, perhaps we'll see how we can integrate Gemini into our work here. So, okay, entities of a business. They are um, they are all right. Let's start with definitions. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is off the top of the head. This is improv. Definition uh, of a and it's uh, very inexpensive to be able to access this information. So it's just your time, I suppose. But with Google Note LM, you could take this audio or you could take this transcript, even without Google Note LM, drop it into AI, and have it have it narrow it all down to and ask. You can ask the questions all you want, and I'll show you how to do that at some other time. For now, we'll do it this way. Definition of a business. I will say that a definition of a business is an organization that is in place to make to accomplish at least one goal. I think that's fair. A an organization that is what did I say? That has at least one goal. And that goal could be a civic goal, or it could be a financial goal. So it just has to have at least one goal. And if it's a business that is intended, intended to make money, to generate a profit, then uh, one of those goals, if not the first goal, one of the goals is to make money, to generate money. All right, so let's see what Gemini says. I don't want it. I don't know. I thought it was already on Google Workspace. Maybe not. No. Excuse me. I'm on Google Workspace for. Well, I'm on that account. That's not what I want to be on. Okay. Oh, there we go. Now, close that. Well, it doesn't even give me the Gemini thing here, and I have Google Workspace. Okay. Let's then go into ChatGPT. Thanks, Gemini. You gave me a way out. And I'm going to use 4 because I don't want to spend a lot of time. I do like 1 because I can see. You know what? We'll do it. Fast at advanced reasoning. I mean, we don't need advanced reasoning. We're really just looking for. I don't understand this ChatGPT with scheduled tasks. I got to play with that sometime. I don't trust it because I, I think I asked it to do something, and it said it was going to do something, and I was like, "How are you planning on doing these things?" Like with the follow up, instead of just saying okay and sitting and waiting, and then it admitted that it can't do the things that I was asking for, which was frustrating because I'm sure there's somebody out there who expected it to do whatever it said it was going to do, because why wouldn't it? Uh, and yeah, and All right. So what I'm going to ask it is, what is the definition of a business? All right, we'll do it this way. Um, Take a little screenshot. Because I'm going to do it this way because we want to. How I like to interact with ChatGPT or any AI is to basically um, let them give them the information, give them all the information. So I used to work in, or I still do, work in IT tech support, not tech support, but like in a role that people are coming to me for technical answers to questions. They have a problem. I'm I'm expected to have a solution, or expected to find a solution if I don't have it right away. And um, I like to present ChatGPT with the information that as I like to be presented. So if somebody comes to me and says there's a problem with the report, and that is a very common at many places I've worked where there's a problem with the report and there's no other information. So this report could have, and when it's an issue is when the report has multiple things that could be wrong with it. Is it there are values that are wrong? Is the formatting wrong? Are labels incorrectly? So when you say there's a problem with the report, now I have to say what's the problem with the report? And then they say it's giving me the wrong information. So that's great. That's we're closer. But had you just said there's a problem with the report, it's giving me the wrong information, and now I still have to ask, well, what's the wrong information? Because is it too high? Is it too low? That's going to narrow down what I'm looking for. Uh, and if I ask that question again, then it makes the job a lot easier. But if you'd given me all that information up front, I can go ahead and get the stuff done. With ChatGPT or any AI, or at least ChatGPT, I can't speak to a whole lot of others and how they operate. I'm most familiar with ChatGPT. You can feed if you feed everything up front. I feel that I found that it does a better job of uh, giving you a result that meets your need more so than if you just have to keep answering questions. Because as it goes down, I feel like it just kind of the more questions you add to it, the more confused it gets. Because sometimes you can be giving it something that kind of contradicts something else you said earlier on, and it's not going to question you to say, well, this contradicts, unless you could prompt it to do that, to question those things. But typically speaking, if you're just going into it, you it's much better to just give it all at once. So here it is. So I saved it, and now I want to say I want to ask it. You know what? I was going to use no. I was going to use the voice on it, but I don't need to. So I'm going to shut up while I type. 1 second. Well, that's going. And with this. So I'm saying this. I'm saying developing a business data 101 course. Don't give me the course outline or suggestions unless I ask specifically for them. Um, for this first. There we go. So a business typically involves. So I was straying away from the economic because I feel like there are businesses, and maybe that's just the model. Like a business is absolutely. Well, say it says typically. So that's where. Having goods or services with the goal of creating value or generating profit. A business is an organization that engages in economic activities, yeah, offering goods or services with the goal of creating value, yep, because that doesn't have to be economic value, or generating profit. I like that one. Question revision to guide students towards a more comprehensive answer. You might refine the question. What defines a business as distinct from other types of organizations? What key characteristics make organizations? Oh, okay. So that's like the follow up questions. And I would say, yeah, a business is an organization that engage. I like that one. Uh, oh. So, what are the entities of a business? If a business is an organization that engages in economic activities offering goods or services with the goal of creating value or generating profit. So, if we look at that, just sentence alone, we can get the entities are entities. Entities. Uh, let's see. So, a business is an organization that engages in economic activities offering goods or services with the goal of creating value or generating profit. So, if we start with an organization, so there's a leadership, and then there are actors. We know that at a basic. So leadership. So some in an organization there has to be a head, right, or a leadership, and whether that's that leadership is shared or whether it resides with one person or one entity, one position, then uh, it's there. So leadership is an entity, and then the actors are is everything underneath that leadership. So we can define the actors more specifically, but broadly speaking, leadership and actors, as far as the organization goes, as a start. So that covers the business, the organization. So let's just say entities, and then we'll say just to clarify. And then engages in economic activities. So economic activities would be sales or uh, revenue and income. So anything associated with counting on the broadest scale, I would say it would be I would say economic. So economic entities are revenue. Uh, no, revenue and income is the same. Revenue and cost. There we go. Revenue, cost, and then those would be broken down into more um, specific terms or more specific elements. But this is again at a broad top level. So we got our economic activities, revenue, cost, um, profit, I guess, because though that's very specific, but it's a result of revenue and cost. Um, So economic activities offering goods or services, so product, um, or would this be a separate one? Let's say that it's a separate category of product. So what goods, what services? And then that kind of breaks down into SKUs and industry and all that stuff. And you're offering goods or services with the goal, I guess it would be, hmm, goal of creating value or generating profit. Profit's already been taken care of. The creating value, um, I think that boils into cost. So, and the reason I say that is because the first things that come to mind are um, just kind of marketing as far as creating the value. Like, how do you maybe that's expressing the value. Maybe I'm going into a different thing with that question. One sec, gotta run this. Rationality. There we go. We'll let that go for a bit. So, leadership, actors, revenue, cost, profit, goods, and service. That's a good start, at least. Um, and let's see what ChatGPT says. What are we missing? Excuse me. I realized I just coughed in the microphone. Um, oh, there we go. All right. So did I don't know if I copied that or not. Yeah, I did copy it. Ba, 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 ba. Hmm. I like this here. By giving, it's interesting the category refinement they say, but just giving a definition to it. Okay. Yeah, and this is that leadership, employees. I think that's better. Yeah, actors, stakeholders, investors. Yeah, I forgot about them. uh, which funny. These, if you have never worked in a company, a public company, or a private company, so because this talks to both of them, and stakeholders is not necessarily a financial stakeholder. This could just be somebody who has interest in a positive or negative outcome of the business activity. Um, but yeah, it took me a long time actually to recognize these people not over, but as important parts to this because with a lot of work, especially when when I was starting out in the jobs that I was doing, it's very much you're working in these silos where you kind of build up loyalties to little groups of people, and then every now and again, these other people would come in who ultimately have. I'm not a big fan of order or anything like that, but if we look at it from a uh, responsible for decisions that affect how you're compensated for the work that you do and how your environment is in those positions. Uh, yeah, regardless of that, I was never one to put things in different priorities based on that. But in growing older in the jobs and getting a little bit more experience, I learned that there's a lot of value actually in um, communicating. It's not maybe that's not the word I'm trying to use, but there's a lot of value in really taking the time to get to know the people who are dipping into your circle of common recipients of your services. I suppose would be one way to put it, but really get to know your new customers, quote unquote, um, because when you do that, you get to learn other aspects. You learn more of the world outside of your silo, basically. It's a good opportunity for that. All right, so let's get back to this. Entities of business, blah, 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 economic revenue, cost, profit, cash flow. Okay, I missed, yeah. Goods, services, value proposition. Okay, suggestions are at least further. Actors is a bit ambiguous. Yeah, I like that. Um, Expanded economic, cash flow. Yeah, I like that. Value proposition. Would you like a visual mind map or chart for this? Sure. Sure, ChatGPT. And then we'll go ahead and this. See what they pop out, and then we'll wrap it. Well, that's taking a little bit longer than I expected it to. Ooh. Interesting. I don't know what this is. Go back. Okay. So I guess I tried to switch to an interactive chart that doesn't exist. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I don't. It's not a very clear. I like the table better. So we'll go ahead and do this. Turn. Is there a way you can reply to just this? That'd be kind of cool. No, that's not what I wanted. Ah. And then I can just copy and paste that into the spreadsheet there. Not that it would be hard to just type that stuff in, but why not use technology? Oh, jeez. Perhaps it would have been faster for me to just make that table. This is what I wanted. Can I copy? I didn't copy that way. Do, 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 do. There's my Excel. I'll get rid of these. Turn that into a table. Call it business entities. And oops. Let's just insert one row. Make that a little bit bigger. There. That's a good start. Business Data 101. Here we go. And you got your business entities. And introduction. And I'll save that and I'll share it, I guess, with this. Why not? It's been fun. I will see you next time. And if you have any questions on any of this, or comments or whatever, want to just reach out and say hi, how you doing? Feel free to do that. You've seen whatever scrolling across. AndreMauriceDavis.com is where you can get in touch with me through a form, and it's easy enough. It will get to me. Otherwise, you can find my email or text me or call me or find me on WhatsApp or however people do it these days. And otherwise, other than that, I would say please do um, refer people that you think would find this school community useful at the Genesis Network. Uh, Refer them and get a commission on it, 40%, I think it is. Um, so yeah, that's all. Bye bye.